Hey everyone, welcome to Noon Flow. We'll get going in a couple minutes. I'm going to ask you all to get a dowel of some kind, could be a broomstick, all kinds of things, and we'll do some shoulder exercises. Uh, anyway, we'll get going real soon, and I'm glad you all are here. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Noon Flow. My name is Mark Cormier. Exciting news next Friday. I believe I'll be live at Bay Club Gateway for a noon class, just like the old days. Super excited about that. In the meantime, we have our class this afternoon. I believe my daughter will join us real soon, uh, but we'll get going without her. She'll jump in. I hear her come down. All right, coming to the top of your mat if you're using a mat this afternoon. Hey there, all good. Welcome, Josephine. From your feet, finding your legs. From your legs, finding your spine. Relaxing your shoulders. Long through all sides of the neck with a slight tuck of the chin as we start to take our attention inward. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart. A light press of your thumb against your sternum as we line up each finger. Starting our practice today, just watching as our breath flows in and as our breath flows out. Arriving here on our yoga mats, our yoga carpets, our yoga ground, ready for a new time flow class. From a place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath as you find a long, slow inhalation, matched by a long, slow exhalation. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to find a full-body breath, bringing the air to the top of the chest, the base of the belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. As you breathe out, I'll encourage you to draw the low belly in and up towards the heart to squeeze a little more air out, also providing structural support for our low back in any of these shapes, in any of these sequences. To this deeper, fuller breath, moving towards a go-to breath in many flow practices, the Ujjayi or ocean breath, a slight constriction of the base of your throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And it could be so slight only you can hear it. And as we flow through our practice this new time, letting the sound and feel of your Ujjayi breath be a focus for your practice, often compared to the sounds of the waves of the ocean as the waves wash in and out. Now taking the tip of your tongue to the hard palate just behind the teeth, trying to keep that connection throughout the practice. Keeping our jaws relaxed, keeping us from grinding our teeth, also connecting front and back planes of our bodies. And finally, before we start to breathe and move, I'll invite you to take the tip of your tongue to the hard palate just behind the teeth, trying to keep that connection throughout the practice. I already cued that. Now, with your lips closed, I'm going to cue a slight side smile to your face, opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh and revitalize. Keeping all this, hands by our side. So let's play with our shoulders a little bit. So I don't know if you were here about 4 or 5 minutes ago, but I asked you to grab a stick of some kind, a dowel. Josephine, you got one right over there. So let's take the dowel in our left hand. Right hand is on top. So left hand, the fingers, palm faces up. Right hand, the palm faces down. And we're just going to use the left hand to bring the right arm out to the side and then back down. And let's do that a few times. Arm comes up and down. Arm comes up and down. Let's do 3 more. Arm comes up and down. Arm comes up and down. Arm comes up. Let's hold. Breath in. Breath out. And then letting that arm come down. Let's switch. So now the dowel is in the right hand. The palm faces up. Left hand is on the other end of the dowel. The palm faces down. And we use the power of the right hand to bring left arm up and down. Left arm up and down. Left arm up and down. Halfway done. Left arm up and down. Last 2. Left arm up and down. Last one. Left arm up and hold for a breath. And down. Awesome. So let's come back to that first configuration. Left hand faces up. Right hand faces down. And we're just going to bring our right hand off to the side using the power of the left hand and back in. Arm comes out and arm comes out and in. Let's go 3 more. Arm comes out and in. Arm comes out and in. Last one, we'll hold. Arm comes out and hold that extra breath. If it's cool on your shoulder, take it a little further. If not, don't do it. And back in. Right palm faces up. Left hand faces down. We're going to use the power of the right hand to rotate left hand out and out and out and in. Halfway done. Out and in. Last 2. Out and in. Last one, we're going to hold. We rotate out and hold. Breath in. Breath out. And then back to center. And down. Let's lose the dowel for right now, but keep it handy. We're going to use it in some of our standing poses a little bit later on. Let's do one more shoulder exercise before we launch into our sun sal sequence. So let's find a clasp of the fingers in front of the heart. Our left hand is going to be an elevator as we elevate the right hand up. And then with full support of the left hand, we elevate that right hand down. And let's do 6 of these. We can inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Halfway down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Last 2, inhale up. Exhale down. This last one will hold. Elevator up and hold. Breath in. Breath out. And then back down. From here, let's find the other clasp of the fingers as we walk our fingers one over. This time, right hand is the elevator, left arm, the left hand is the passenger. As we elevate up and down. We elevate up and down. We elevate up and down. Halfway done. We elevate up and down. Last 2, we elevate up and down. We'll hold this last one. We elevate up and hold. Breath in. Breath out. And down. From here, releasing the clasp of the fingers, hands by our side. So we'll do the 3-3-3, very good classic warm-up. We'll do a 3-3-2-1, and I'll explain. So here comes our first 3. We inhale, arms up, palms face in. And exhale as the arms come down. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale down. The last one. Inhale up. Exhale down. Now here comes the second 3. We'll do a forward fold, half sun cell. Inhale up. Exhale down, forward fold. Take a breath to find length as you lift chin and tail. On the exhale, rounding the spine as you fold again. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 2 more times like this. Inhaling up. Exhaling up. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, rounding the spine as you fold again. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. 1 more to go. Inhaling up. Exhaling over. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, fold. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, standing tall. Surya Namaskar A. This first one I'll suggest no vinyasa. We inhale up. We exhale. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out, grounding down through your hands as you find your down dog. As we hold this first down dog of our practice, I'll invite you to walk the dog from side to side, bending one leg deeply as you ground down to the opposite heel. And then walking the dog the other way. And then just walking back and forth, stretching it out. How does your body feel this afternoon? What feels tight? What feels right? What feels somewhere in between? Starting to wake up the nadis, the various energy currents within us. I've heard there's 10,000. I think 10,000 is just shorthand for there's lots of them. From this place of movement, moving back towards stillness. Long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. On the tail end of a breath, I'll invite you to bend the knees ever so slightly to lift your tailbone a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, inhaling, hands over head pose. Exhaling, standing tall. Can you work a second sun cell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold all the way to the ground. Inhale, hands on knees or thighs to a flat back.
Okay.
Exhale, forward fold. And step back either to a plank or to a vinyasa. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to. And you can push back to a down dog. In your down dog, if you want to, feel free to walk the dog, bending one leg and then the other leg back and forth. Make sure you're breathing deeply into your back as you're in your down dog. At the tail end of an exhale, bend your knees a little bit and step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, folding. Inhale, rise all the way to the sky. Exhale, standing tall. Let's do one more sun salutation A. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive to the floor. Inhale to a flat back. I'll go sideways. Exhale, forward fold and step back, either to a plank, a vinyasa, or just pushing back to your down dog. If you're an up dog, look up. Exhale, push back to down dog. In your down dog, just breathe deeply into your back. Shake your head a little bit to loosen up. From here, you can stay in your down dog, or if you want to build a little more heat, on your next inhale, you can inhale forward to a plank. And on your exhale, you can push back to a down dog. Inhale forward to plank. Exhale, push back to down dog. Inhale, push forward to plank. Exhale, push back to down dog. Inhale, push forward to plank, and we're gonna hold. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale if you can. Exhale, push all the way back to down dog. I want to take a child's pose, that was maybe a little difficult. Or you can just stay in your down dog. We did the plank thing.
How far are you?
Last sun salutation, I have a 3.
Oh, you did 3? Okay, cool. We're having some work done downstairs. There's a key issue. My apologies. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail end of your breath, and allow you to bend the knees ever so slightly, lift the next tailbone a little higher, a little more space in that lumbar spine, and then stepping or jumping to the front of the mat. Take a breath to find length. Exhale, fold. Inhaling, hands overhead pose. On the exhale, standing tall. So we did 3 arms, we did 3 forward folds, we did 3 A's.
Sorry, I thought it was 2-1.
I was going to do a shorter warm-up sequence. And then we're going to do 2 B's, so we'll do 3 A's and 2 B's. And that second B will have the hip opening sequence involved in it. So we start with our chair pose. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length. And then breathing out back to down dog as you will. Yeah, either cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight back, yogi's choice. From down dog, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky for the 3-legged dog. High on the right toes. And then looking between the hands as you step that right foot on through. Spinning the back heel down, finding your warrior 1, arms up and over the head. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. I love that vinyasa. The plank vinyasa, where you skip the push-up, but you hold the plank for a couple of breaths, and then stretch it back. A little easier on the shoulders. From down dog, second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. And then looking between the hands, sweeping that left foot on through, spinning the back heel down, arms up and over the head. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge as we spin that back heel up, and then back to down dog, as you will. And you offered the child's pose option, JoJo? I think so, yeah. So down dog's a great place to hang out. Supposedly it's a resting posture. I know when I first took yoga, it was the farthest from a resting posture that I could imagine. A true resting posture for many of us might be the child's pose, but even that, depending on your back, sometimes isn't a true rest. So finding a place where you can balance effort needs. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding. Inhaling, riding the breath up. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. One more B, we'll have the hip opening sequence. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to find length, and then breathing out back to down dog as you will. From down dog, flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Right leg high to the sky, high on the left toes. Without overly disturbing the shoulders, stacking the hips. Now bending that top leg, opening up that right hip. And then looking between the hands, sweeping that right foot on through, spinning the back heel down, arms up and over the head. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge, and from low lunge, back to down dog, as you will. Again, take your time, find your flow, follow your breath. From down dog, second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart. Left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. And then looking between the hands, bringing that left foot on through. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Good thing I have my assistant here. Without overly disturbing the shoulders, we're going to stack the hips. Now bending that left leg, opening up that hip. And then looking between the hands, sweeping that left foot on through. Spinning the back heel down, arms up and over the head. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge. And then back to down dog as you will. Take your time. Whether you choose down dog, child's pose, all fours position, that's usually a pretty restful place for most of us. Coming back to an even breath and watching that breath as it flows in and as it flows out. Awesome. How you doing, Jojo? Not too hot?
Oh,
Not hot.
it's okay
A little more fan on you. Always feeling free to stay wherever you are. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you mindfully make your way to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find life. On the exhale, fold. On the inhale, stay low. We'll come back to our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll invite you to bring hands to heart, either keeping a light press of your palms as your weight gathers in your feet, or adding an isometric engagement as we press those palms together, elbows out to the side, and then hands by our side. From here, let's step or jump our feet hip width apart. An oldie but goldie here. Hands find the hips. Take a breath to roll the shoulder blades back and down, open heart, open throat, and the knees soft here as we find a forward fold. I'll invite you to let peace sign fingers catch the big toes, so you can bend your knees a bunch here. With that finger to big toe connection, take a breath to lift chin and tail any amount, and then folding and holding as we draw the shoulders up and back towards the hips. Relax the neck and heavy the head. As we hold this shape, I'll invite you to add a little swing, a little sway, releasing tension in the neck and shoulders. And then back to center, long through both side waists, long through all sides of the neck, as that tension drains down through the crown of the head, into the earth, where it's gone, at least for now. Taking it further, take a breath to lift chin and tail, and now bending the knees even more as we bring the palms under the soles of the feet. As we hold this shape, I'll invite you to rock your body weight front to back to front, staying grounded through the heels, grounded through the toes. And then letting a little more weight collect towards the toes, say 60%. As you step on your hands a little harder, lifting the hips a little higher, and folding a little deeper. I'm going to go backwards so you all get the full perspective. No wisecracks about this being my best side. From here, I'm going to invite you to bring left hand off to the left and right hand under left foot as we stretch out right shoulder and hip. Now bringing right hand off to the right, left hand under right foot, and stepping on left hand, stretching out left shoulder and hip. Now bringing left hand off to the left, right hand under left foot, and then finding a twist as we bring hand to hip. Maybe setting that shoulder, maybe stretching hand high to the sky. Left hand comes down, right hand off to the right, left hand under right foot, and finding a twist as we bring hand to hip. Now setting the shoulder, now stretching hand high for a big breath into your back. Bringing right hand down, left hand comes out from underfoot. We'll do a 2-breath come up here as we find a flat back, hands find the hips, inhaling. Exhaling and holding. And on your next in-breath, keeping flat back as we hinge at the hips to rise on. And then either stepping or jumping our feet together as we bring hands to heart. Either keeping a light press of the thumb against your sternum as your weight collects in your feet, or adding that isometric engagement as we connect with the strength of our center. And then hands by our side. Let's bring hands on hips as we shift weight onto right foot, preparing for a standing half lotus. As we bend right knee, we bring left ankle on top of the thigh, as if we're sitting in an invisible chair, sitting on down. From here, hip hands become heart hands. From here, hard hands become high hands, and we hold. Now, if it feels wobbly, I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers. And even if it doesn't feel wobbly, why not? Wiggling those fingers, keeping our twigs supple. Supple twigs, supple branches, supple trunk. High hands become hard hands. Hard hands become hip hands. Woo. We straighten the standing leg. We lift this left thigh high for the flamingo. The toe points down. Either staying here or leaning a little bit forward as we draw energy into energy center, lengthening through the leg. Lifting that leg a little higher. And we're going to move towards a warrior 3 from here. As we sweep the foot through, if you need to tap down, tap down. And we start to pitch the body forward. Back foot is flexed. Either keeping hands on hips or working through arm variations. We stretch hands back. We can stretch hands out to the side. We can stretch hands front as if we're holding a large glass ball. Hands come back to the heart. Hard hands come back to the hip. Oops.
This is way too long.
And then we land that back foot carefully for warrior 1 prep. Hands stay on the hips. We can steer back hip front, front hip back. We can bring hands onto our shoulders, relaxing those shoulders. Now finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, open heart, open throat, and then finding a tray in front. Breathing in as we gather energy into energy center. On the exhale, offering it out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. 3 more to go. Breathing in, breathing out. Last 2, breathing in, breathing out. Last one we'll hold. Breathing in, breathing out, and holding. Warrior 1 with cactus arms. I'll invite you to draw the elbows back, the hands come with. I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers. And then turning warrior 1 into warrior 2. As hands find the heart, we open up the hips. We can kick the back foot in just a tad. And then finding one long arm, looking out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. From here, painting rainbows. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more to go. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out. Warrior 2. And then transitioning to Trikonasana. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. The I'm a little teacup transition. We deepen that crease. We lengthen those ribs. I'm a little teacup, short and stout. Here is my handle. Here is my spout. Grounding bottom hand down, setting top shoulder, stretching hand high to the sky, either looking down to the ground, off to the side, or up to the sky with that mixture of effort and ease. As we hold this shape as you breathe in, I'll invite you to find your energy center, your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel. Every time you breathe out from that place, radiating out into space. I used to say, where the center of the universe is, it might be right here. From here, exploring our lateral top line. As we exhale that top hand front, turning heart to the floor. On the inhale, lifting it high as we spin heart to sky. Exhaling. And exhaling. And inhaling. Halfway done. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale. Last one will hold. Exhale and hold as we reach, reach, reach. Now the bottom hand joins. Pure side motion. We breathe 2 hands up. And exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over. 2 hands up. Exhale it over. Halfway done. Breathing it up. Exhale it over. Last 2. Breathing it up. Exhale it over. Last 1. Breathing it up. Exhale it over and hold as we reach, reach, reach. I'll invite you to wiggle those fingers. And either back to Trikonasana or the half moon. As hand finds the hip, we set our base. We shift hand, weight to foot and hand. We lift back leg. We can set that top shoulder. We can stretch that hand high to the sky. And again, as we hold the shape, breathing into energy center, breathing out, radiating out into space. I used to say, the universe can have lots of centers.
You can just say who's to say in front of anything and it could be true.
Who's to say? People are saying the universe has lots of centers. From here, coming down with grace and control, hand finds the hip. We bend it, standing like a lock, try to keep the hand down. It's all about the center. 2 feet find the floor from that foundation. Back to your warrior 2. And then a big windmill of the arms as we find low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog. As you will. Nice. And again, choose a shape where you can find that beautiful, beautiful quality of surrender. We all know how to effort real well. For many of us, it's that surrendering, which is more difficult, even though ostensibly you think it'd be so much easier. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step or take a jump from it. Take a breath, define length. Exhale and fold. On the inhale, finding our chair, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. I'll allow you to bring hands to heart, either keeping that light press of the palms or adding that isometric engagement. And then hands by our side. Did we work with wide feet last time? So step our feet a little bit wider. I forget. We're going to shift weight to the left, whether your feet are narrow or wide. Hands find the hips for that standing half lotus. Bend the left knee. We bring the ankle on top of the thigh. We sit down in our invisible chair. Hip hands can stay on the hips, or hip hands can become heart hands. Hands can stay at the heart, or heart hands become high hands. Again, you might wiggle those fingers, particularly if you're feeling a little wobbly. High hands come back to the heart. Hard hands become hip hands. We straighten the standing leg. We bring the ankle off of the thigh for the flamingo, toe points down. From here, leaning a little bit forward as we breathe into energy center long through the leg. Lifting that leg a little higher. And then sweeping it through, hands stay on the hips. Feel free to touch down as we find our warrior 3. Whoops. From our warrior 3, working through arm variations. So we stretch hands back. We stretch hands out. We stretch hands in front as if we're holding a large glass ball. Hands come back to the heart. Hard hands become hip hands. We land that back leg lightly as we find our warrior 1 prep, finding a length of stance that works for you. With hands on hips, we can steer back hip front, front hip back. We can bring hands onto shoulders to steer the shoulders front and remind those shoulders to stay relaxed. Switching the clasp of the fingers, we press the head into the hands, open heart, open throat. And then finding a tray in front, breathing in as we gather energy into energy center. On the exhale, offering it out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. 3 more to go. Breathing in. And breathing out. Last 2. Breathing in. And breathing out. Last 1. Breathing in. Breathing out and holding warrior 1 with cactus arms. As we bring the elbows back, the hands come with, wiggling those fingers, keeping our twigs supple. Supple twigs, supple branches, supple trunk. From here, finding warrior 2. As hands find the heart, we open up the hips. We might narrow the stance just a tad. And then finding 1 long arm. From here, painting 6 rainbows. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Last two. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one. Breathing in. Breathing out and holding. And now moving towards Trikonasana, the I'm a little teacup transition. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. Deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs. I'm a little teacup, short and stout. Here is my handle, here is my spout. When I get all steamed
Oh
up,
my God.
hear me shout.
I'm never doing this again.
Opening up the shoulders, stretching hand high, finding our triangle pose. Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah.
Hear me shout. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Finding your center of balance as you breathe in and breathing out. Let me go backwards again. No wisecracks. And we exhale, top hand, front, heart turns to the floor. Inhaling, lifting hand high as we spin heart to sky. Exhale. And inhale. Exhaling. Inhaling, halfway down. Exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And inhale, last one we'll hold as we reach. Bottom hand joins, we breathe, two hands up. And exhale. Two hands up. Exhale it over. Two hands up. Exhale it over. Halfway down, breathing it up. Exhale it over. Inhale it up. Exhale it over. Last one, breathing it up. Exhale it over and hold as we reach. And either back to Trikonasana or finding your Ardha Chandrasana as you bring hand to hip. We step the back foot in, shifting weight into front foot and front hand as we lift that back leg, setting the shoulders, stretching hand high. All parts of the body active, even those fingers. Nice. As we wake up, the 10,000 nadis, the energy currents, blood flow, nervous system flow, digestive flow, all about the flow. On the transition, we want to minimize momentum and maximize core engagement. Hand finds the hip, we bend the standing leg, we ground that back foot, hand stays down. In now from the strength of your center, finding your warrior two. And from warrior two, a big windmill of the arms as we find low lunge. And from low lunge, back to down dog. As you will. Deep full breaths. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly, lifting the tailbone a little bit higher. And then either stepping or jumping to the front of your mat. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, fold. On the inhale, one more time this afternoon, finding your chair pose. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. On the exhale, neutral spine. Hands find the heart. You're keeping a light press of the palms or adding that isometric engagement. And then hands by our side. Let's play with our dowel a little bit.
Are you just making everyone do your physical therapy with you?
Is my secret reveal. There's actually a yoga way. So what we did before was physical therapy. Now we're going to use our dowel in a yoga way. Another option. I have them here. Obviously, I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a Pilates teacher. I think the white ones are about $17, which is expensive for what they are. The black one's a little more expensive. They're useful though. So I have two of them. But that would be another option. And you'll find the cylinders in many studios. Anyway, we can use our dowels here. And let's play with our dowel tree. Dowel's in right hand. Hopefully it finds the floor if you're working with a long enough dowel. We can shift weight into right foot. Left foot becomes either a kickstand, finding the calf, or reaching down and bringing foot onto thigh.
My dowel's very bendy.
Want to switch dowels?
No, it's okay.
either keeping hand on hip or hand finds the heart, or we stretch hand high to the sky.
I think this just makes it more
Does it
difficult
make it harder for you?
with this one, because it's just like,
Let me get you the cylinder then.
like this isn't doing anything.
You do your cylinder.
Ah!
I like the double or the cylinder.
Yeah, and the cylinder's fine because it's not bendable.
From here, let's bring hand to heart. From here, let's lift up our cylinder or dowel. We'll hold it in front. From here, we can bring right arm out to the side and back in. Right arm out to the side and back in.
This is not.
Out to the side and back in. Out to the side and back in. Last two. Out to the side and back in. Out to the side and hold. Breath in. Breath out. Back to center. We can ground down through our dowel. We can release that foot from the thigh. And I'll suggest give it a shake.
Cool. That was really successful. Yep.
Anytime, the first time you do something, usually it's the hardest. Maybe the last time you do something is the hardest too.
I don't know.
So we're going to switch sides. So dowel's in left hand now, or cylinder's in left hand. Moving towards our dowel or our cylinder tree. We can start either with the kickstand, the calf, or reach down to bring foot onto thigh. Hand can stay on the hip. We can bring hand to heart. We can stretch hand high to the sky. From here, we can bring hand back to the heart. We can lift the dowel. Fingers face up on the right side, fingers face down on the left. We bring the arm out to the side and back in. 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 Last two. Out to the side and back in. We'll hold this last one out to the side and hold. And then back to center. We can support ourselves with the dowel in the left hand. As we come out of our tree, and I'll suggest give it a shake. From here, let's hold the dowel or cylinder high overhead, feet nice and wide.
Are we balancing? We're not balancing.
Now we're just going to do some twists
Okay.
here. We twist it left, back through center, we twist it right. And back and forth, we can inhale and exhale. And we'll do 6 each way. Halfway done. Inhale through center, exhale. Last two. Last one, let's hold. We twist to the left and we go a little further, maybe reach up a little higher. Inhale through center, exhale, take it a little further maybe. And then back to center and down. One more exercise here. Let's bring dowel or cylinder behind. You either have a hand on each side of the cylinder, maybe you catch the cylinder from underneath. Nice and soft in the knees. And we'll take a forward fold. Arms up and overhead. And then a tuck of the chin. We bring it on up. And again, let's bring the dowel off to the side for now. Hands find the hips. And let's step our left foot back for our warrior one. From here, we can steer back hip front, front hip back. Relaxing those shoulders. Finding that clasp of the fingers behind the head. Open heart, open throat. Now bringing right hand to right hip. That's the hip of the front leg. We can find length on the left side, reaching up. And then reaching out. Let's do 6 of these. Reaching up. And then reaching out. Reaching up. And reaching out. Halfway done, reaching up. And out. Reaching up. And out. Last one here, we'll do revolve crescent lunge, reaching up. And we're going to reach, reach, reach. We're going to spin the back heel up for a little more space in the shape. We start the twist with the wrist. We slide to the elbow, either staying there or finding your prayer hands. As you press the hands together, feel your scapula, your shoulder blades moving, wrapping around onto the spine. And I'll allow you to lift the chin ever so slightly to open up the base of the throat. Awesome. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Coming out of our twist easily as we frame front foot with both hands. Big step in as we line up the heels, big angle on that back foot, and either bringing hands onto our shin or a pair of bricks, or maybe they stay on the floor. As we hold the shape, inviting the back of the knee to open, as we stretch out the hamstring, pushing into that front foot, drawing the hip back as we stretch out the hamstring in two directions. Now, if your hands are on your shin, the motion is going to be a lot smaller, albeit with a lot more core connection. If your hands are on the ground or on blocks, you'll be able to go a little bit bigger, but you won't have as much connection with your core. So they're both good. Just different aspects of these shapes. I'll allow you to rock your hips from Warrior 1 hips, hips facing front, to Warrior 2 hips, hips facing side, just back and forth. It's inviting more prana, more life force into your hips. And then we'll move towards revolved triangle. Very hard pose. Oh, what happened here? With playing this video. I don't know if we're still recording or not. We're going to move towards.
It looks like it's still recording.
Still recording? Okay.
I'm not sure.
So let's move towards revolved triangle. We've got about 15 minutes. Let's pray that it's still recording. We can bring a hand to the sacrum, the palm faces up. We want to keep the hips relatively stable as we twist from the torso to face straight front leg, going long through both side waists. Either keeping your hand right where it is or setting that shoulder. Maybe stretching hand high to the sky and get all parts of the body active. Nice, beautiful. Smooth breaths in, smooth breaths out. Now coming out easily as we frame front foot with both hands. Big step back as you find your lunge. And from lunge, back to down dog as you. Yeah, I love Josephine's vinyasa. She holds that plank a couple of breaths and then stretches it back. In a flow practice, we can do a lot of push-ups or no push-ups at all, and we can still flow. From our down dog shape, long, smooth breath in. Long, smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, looking between your hands as you step. Or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling forward. From here, let's stay low as we toe heel our feet wide, catching opposite elbows, and gently swinging it from side to side. Switching across to the elbows, keep swinging it from side to side. And then back to center, hands on our thighs, our chin is tucked as we masterfully roll ourselves up. Lifting the chin tall through the crown as we bring hands to heart and hang out. And try to figure out what's going on. I think we're still recording. Okay.
I mean, it says.
It says, yeah. Anyway, let's hope we're still recording. We got about 11 minutes or so. So relax. If we're not recording, no big deal.
Well, they can't hear us if we're not recording.
If
so
we
maybe
are,
we have to reassure them.
That's true. We're going to find our second side. So hands find the hips. We're going to step our right foot back as we find our Warrior 1 prep. Steering back, hip front, front hip back. Relaxing and squaring those shoulders. Switching the clasp of the fingers, pressing head into the hands, open heart, open throat, fourth and fifth chakra. And then left hand finds left hip. We find length on the right side, reaching up and then reaching out. We'll do 6 of these. Reaching up and out. Reaching up and out. Halfway done, reaching up and out. Last 2, reaching up and out. Last 1, reaching up. Now we're going to find revolved crescent lunge. We're going to reach, reach, reach. We're going to spin the back heel up. We start the twist with the wrist. We slide to the elbow, either keeping hand on hip or finding your prayer hands. Like we did before on light. Line up each finger, nice. Wrapping the shoulder blades back and around, open heart. And then a little lift to the chin to open up our fifth chakra. Nice, beautiful. despite the twist, despite the balance, still finding a deep full breath. Now coming out of the twist easily as we frame front foot with both hands. Big step in, big angle on the back foot as we find Parsvottanasana. Our hands can bricks, floor or shin. Pushing into the foot, drawing the hip back, inviting the back of the knee to open as we lengthen the hamstring in both directions. Now again, depending on where your hands are, this is either a small move with a lot of core engagement, a bigger move maybe with less core engagement, as we rock from warrior one hips to warrior two hips, just back and forth, inviting more prana, more life force into our hips. And then squaring those hips front, warrior one hips, as we move towards our revolved triangle. Hand finds the sacrum, palm faces up, and we're going to twist towards that straight front leg. We keep the hips relatively stable. We want to lengthen through both sideways. As we turn our heart towards that leg, we can set the shoulder, we can stretch hand high and get energy in all parts of the body, even those fingers. Nice, nice, nice. When we move the arm back, we want to bring that shoulder along with it. Beautiful. Another great place to breathe. Any of these places are great places to breathe. A lot of times we work hard, we restrain the breath, but as long as we keep the flow of the breath happening, all the other nadis, all the other energy currents flow as well. Now coming out easily as we frame front foot with both hands. Big step back as we find our lunge. And one more time this afternoon. Back to down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight. How you feeling this morning or this afternoon, Jojo?
In general?
Do you want to play with the donkey kicks?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So this is handstand prep. So Jojo's going to take a short dog. So she's going to walk her feet in. I'll suggest walking her feet in enough so she can ground down through the heels. She's going to bring her feet to the midpoint, so big toes touch, heels slightly apart. So it's a short three-legged dog as she lifts her right leg high. And then I'll suggest she does 6 donkey kicks, letting that top leg be the lever of the action, moving towards that 0 point. And then when she's done with that side, she'll ground down through that foot, take a breath just to relax. And then she'll find her donkey kicks on the second side, left leg high. Yeah, the lifted leg does the work.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's great. Really work those hands. Nice, beautiful. These are not easy. And then grounding on down, taking a breath in a short dog, and then I'll invite her to find a child's pose. Sits bones back to the heels. I'll invite her and you to nestle your belly inside your thighs. As you breathe in, let your belly massage your thighs. As you breathe out, let your thighs massage your belly. Tilt the camera down just a little bit. Hopefully we're still recording and they can see you a little better. Oh, you might know it is. This computer's awfully hot in the sun. I wonder if that's what's going on. In our child's pose, keeping hips and heels just as they are, I'll invite you to walk your hands to one side, stretching far hip to far hip. And then walking our hands through center, finding that side bend the other way, stretching other hip to other heel. Now bringing hands center, let's walk our hands in, and let's find a kneeling hero pose as we come on up and we sit on our feet. You can see tops of the toes are down. I'm stretching out that place where the foot and the ankle connect. If this is too much for your feet, you could always take the weight of the body out of the equation. I'll suggest left hand supports right hand if you identify as a male. Right hand supports left hand if you identify as a female. If you identify as neither, you can do whatever you want. Or both. It's a Chinese thing. I don't know. I thought I'd throw it in there. Maybe I'll leave it out.
You still get it.
I think left is soft, right is hard. So guys tend to be harder typically or stereotypically than soft. So I want to encourage a softness in the guys. Women tend to be soft, maybe not as hard.
Well, I need more softness.
So yeah, so maybe pick a choice whether you want softness, have left hand underneath. If you want a little more rigidity, have right hand underneath. That's probably a better way to cue it, as opposed to the weird gender stuff. And then from this place, let's bring our feet off to the awkward side. Generally have a side we prefer. Going the other way as we examine our patterns of movement. When we get down there, let's give our knees the love that they deserve, a hand on each side. Fingers find the back of the knee. We give that kneecap a little wiggle. We've got a second side to do, a hand on each side of the knee. Fingers underneath the back of the knee. And then we give the kneecap a little bit. From here, let's work a long, slow roll down onto our backs. And I'm not going to go all the way down. I cracked a couple ribs a few weeks ago. It's still not easy for me to be on my back. So I'm just going to cue Josephine. Starting from tall spine, back of the head in line with the sacrum. Frankenstein arms. And a good way to slow your descent is pretend you're trying to touch the far wall the whole time. So we want to find C-spine as we tuck tail and shin. You're going to reach, 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 try to touch that far wall. And your mom went so slow this morning in my class over at Gateway. It took her a good 30 seconds to roll down. So I'm going to issue the 30-second challenge here.
Okay.
As you lay each vertebrae down, slow, 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 slow. I think you're going to beat the 30-second challenge. It gets harder the lower you get, of course. Nice, nice, nice. You can envision laying pearls onto a cushion. Each vertebrae is a pearl. We're trying to find a little more space between each pearl. Awesome. Staying grounded through those heels. This is the really hard part. It's all about the center here. A little hovering right before, and then let it go. I can tell you totally relaxed and easy. From here, let's find a full body breath. Arms overhead as we point, fingers and toes. Exhale as we flex hands and feet. A couple more times. Breathing in as we point. Exhale as we flex. Breathing in as we point. Exhale as we flex. And then I'll invite you to sweep your hands by your side, palms face up. Scooching the head back as you flatten the shoulders. Tip of the tongue now neutral in the mouth. A slight part to the lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose. Doing whatever else feels right and good for you this afternoon. Those of you at home, feeling free to stay in your Shavasana as long as you'd like for the purposes of this hour-long noon class online and for the purposes of those of us in this room. I'm going to ring these bells 3 times. Again, if you're at home and you want to hang out in your Shavasana, do so as long as you'd like. Beautiful afternoon for a long, slow, relaxing Shavasana. Those of us here, or if you're coming out of your Shavasana, I'll invite you to bring your attention to your breath first. Or actually, first, let's just move our minds as we just focus on our breath. So we're sharpening our focus a little bit as we come back to this place. watching as our breath flows in and out. Now finding a shape to your breath as you find a long, slow inhalation, matched by an even longer, slower exhalation. So we're starting to play with that ratio. Long, smooth breaths in, even longer, smoother, slower breaths in. Now inviting more prana, more life force into your bodies as you gently wiggle your fingers and toes. Now drawing that life force in towards center as we gently circle our wrists and our hands. Nice. From here, moving towards Apanasana as we draw one knee in towards our heart and then the other. Hands catch our shins. And then using your thighs to massage your energy center, your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel as you very gently lift and lower the low back and hips. Keeping the knees close in, gently rocking it from side to side, massaging your kidneys, massaging your back. And then the next time you rock to the right, stretching long through the right arm, letting that arm serve as a cushion for the head as we share a long, slow breath here on the floor. I'll invite you to sigh that breath out through your mouth, relaxing your shoulders, softening your jaw, softening the corners of your eyes, smoothing your brow. Keeping everything soft and smooth as we push into our hands to claim a cross-legged sit. Rounded down through 2 sit bones. I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your knees, pulling back with our hands as we sit up a little straighter, a little taller. A slight tuck of the chin as 5 fingers of one hand find the ground. The palm of the other hand faces the sky. Ending our practice as we start, watching as our breath flows in and as our breath flows out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart and bow as you thank yourselves for practicing yoga, and as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world. The light within me honors and respects the light within you, and in this light we are one. Namaste. Thank everybody at home for practicing with us. Thank you, Josephine, for practicing with me. And thank Josephine for taking over the class over the cleaning woman back stairs fixing situation. Beautiful thing about yoga is that it prepares us for what we can't prepare for.
We don't have a cleaning lady.
Markel does. Our downstairs neighbor. She locked our repairman out of the apartment. Anyway, we'll see you all real soon. Have a nice day. Feel free to comment. Feel free to come back and see more online yoga the next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.